hallway toward the kitchen and Granny Marble's kitchen table where we used to have all those family reunions. And this is kind of like an ag family reunion, isn't it? Neighbor, it's the midday edition of Down on the Farm. Hop Sing's going to feed us here in just a little bit, but first, let's look at a week's worth of ag weather. Mostly sunny today, 88 and 72. A few more clouds on Friday the 23rd, 83 and 54. Saturday, 71 and 60. Sunday, 89 and 70. A 40% chance of rain on Monday the 26th. A thunderstorm possible, 6 or 7 tenths probable, 78 and 57. Another 40% chance on Tuesday the 27th with showers, 13 or 14 points, 64 the high, 49 the low. Wednesday, 50% chance of moisture, 8 or 9 more points. Showers, 63 the high, 51 the low. Then on Thursday, we go back to mostly sunny skies, 73 and 53. Sure enough, sunny on Friday the 30th, 74 and 52. And then less than a 10% chance of rain on Saturday the 31st and very few clouds in the sky. 76 the high, 54 the low. Neighbor, that's the ag weather forecast for the San Antonio area because that's right in the big old middle of Down on the Farm country. Again, neighbor, thanks so much for joining us here at Granny Marble's kitchen table. Neighbor, I want to remind you about the South Texas Hereford Association's fall sale coming up Saturday, October the 31st at 12 p.m. at the Beeville Livestock Commission Company. The annual sale is going to be held there, and there will also be a broadcast online at liveauctions.tv for online bidding. Here are just a few of the consignments. 57 Hereford bulls, 20 Brahma bulls, 250 Hereford, Brahma, and F1 females. Remember that sale starts at noon, and don't forget about the online bidding. 361-920-0012 is Robbie Morrish's telephone number. Now, for more information on the program or for videos of the consignments, call 361-920-0012. or go to www.southtexashereford.org. Again, that's South Texas Hereford Association's next fall sale, October the 31st at the Beeville Livestock Commission Company. 57 Hereford bulls, 20 Brahma bulls, 250 Hereford, Brahma, and F1 females. Follow them on Facebook or on their website. Neighbor, let's take a quick look at commodity movement. Corn futures continue to shine as the December contract again approached a new established high on Wednesday before settling back a bit. Corn has now moved nearly 95 cents higher since early August. Soybean meal has been the recent star of the soy complex, and early today is no exception, with December meal reaching another new contract high. December meal is now $94 a ton above those August lows. The recent and dynamic wheat rally in both Kansas City and Chicago may be showing some signs of getting winded. For the second straight day, both markets are under a bit of pressure. Minneapolis futures are attempting an 8th straight higher close, and the drought still rages in eastern Ukraine, particularly southern Russia. Neighbor, let's check always slow to start cotton and see what might direct it today. USDA is going to issue its weekly sales report. With a weaker U.S. dollar over the past 2 weeks, some traders are anticipating stout sales and shipment amounts. The dollar should continue to weaken if another stimulus bill is passed. But neighbor, I don't think Nancy Pelosi is going to let that happen. She's going to stifle anything that might be derived as a Trump victory prior to the November election. Having said that, neighbor, let's look at bull and bear indicators for livestock. On the bull side, renewed buyer support stepping back into the deferred feeder cattle futures midweek, creating the potential for renewed buyer interest to develop in what is expected to remain an oversold market. On the bear side, live cattle futures continue to remain defensive given the underlying pressure in the complex. The focus on increased expected cattle placements during September is likely to add price pressure in the coming days, today and tomorrow. Most every time we have a cattle on feed report, they buy the rumor, sell the fact, and the pressure, given the market, has disappeared by Tuesday of the next week.
I'm a cotton farmer.
I'm BASF.
I'm made of grit, passion, and hands that never stop working.
I'm made of agronomics, innovation, and hands that never stop helping.
I believe cotton isn't a crop. It's a calling. I'm made to grow it.
Protect it.
I know this is important to my family.
Every family.
That's why I work harder.
Innovate better.
To make my cotton as good as it can be.
As protected as it can be.
I'm a cotton farmer.
I'm BASF.
We create chemistry.
Neighbor, human resistance to antibiotics has become a sore spot over the years, and it's caused ranchers and stockmen to have to go to their vet for most livestock medications that we used to be able to buy over the counter, say at our local Tractor Supply. Carrie Martin speaks about resistance on today's edition of Focus on Ag. Carrie, explain.
With human resistance to antimicrobials a major concern, scientists at West Texas A&M University in Canyon are working to help reduce the use of such drugs to treat livestock. James Hunt reports.
In this FDA-funded research project, the focus is on the drug Tylosin, which is used to address liver ailments in cattle. Dr. Paul Morley, Director of Research for West Texas A&M's Veterinary Education, Research, and Outreach Program, says tests will involve 4 groups of animals.
One is a group that is fed Tylosin throughout the feeding period, which is the typical way that Tylosin is included in the ration. Then they'll have some that don't receive any Tylosin, and then we will have 2 different experimental groups where we're looking for shorter intervals for use of Tylosin to see whether or not we can reduce the time period over which they're exposed and still achieve the same level of control of liver abscesses.
Along with West Texas A&M and Texas A&M, other partners in the research include the universities of Iowa State, Michigan State, and Colorado State, as well as representatives of the cattle feeding business, including Texas Cattle Feeders Association. In Canyon, James Hunt for the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network.
Today, to show you something else about Pioneer's corn and soybean product development, I'm in Johnston, Iowa. I'm walking into a large, nondescript building, but what's inside is definitely worth describing. This is the insectary. That humming is from an environmental growth chamber. Behind this last set of doors are, you guessed it, insects. Lots of them. Okay, here we go. These insects, along with research data, help Pioneer breeders design corn and soybean products to better withstand insect pressure. This knowledge goes back decades and is constantly expanding for the future. The insectary, another place that makes Pioneer Pioneer. You'll hear more from me later. For now, let your local Pioneer sales representative hear from you.
Cotton harvest is approaching the halfway point in Texas. The latest USDA crop progress and condition report for Texas showing the cotton crop now 42% harvested. That is well ahead of the average pace of 29% at this time of year. 92% of the crop has open bolls. Crop condition ratings for the Texas cotton crop, still nothing to get excited about. 7% of the crop rated excellent, 20% rated good, 26% of the cotton rated fair, and 47% of the cotton crop rated poor to very poor. I'm Carrie Martin on the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network.
Carrie, thank you so much. Why don't you hang around and eat with us? Neighbor, my stomach's rumbling, and I know yours is too because I can hear it all the way across Granny Marble's big old kitchen table. So, Hop Sing's gonna feed us lunch, chicken fried steak, jalapeno gravy, plenty of Nanny's yeast rolls, and a cold cucumber salad and all the iced tea you can drink. In fact, he's got gallons of tea for you folks to take with you because I know it'll be warm what y'all in places that y'all are working this afternoon, and what you'll be doing, you'll get thirsty. So just a little gift from Hop Sing. He's famous for his sweet tea. And the good folks at Gillespie Livestock Fredericksburg are famous for a great sale. Did business with Wayne and Sean for a long time and their daddy before them. Well, Sean's granddaddy, Wayne's daddy. Wayne Guys White, how'd the cattle sell at Gillespie Livestock on Wednesday?
Well, I ended up with 1,302 head, I believe. Cow market's probably $1 or $2 cheaper. They look like they took off a little money this week, kind of around under $1. A lot of cows bring $1 or better, you know, and the good big cows, of course, still bringing the 50s. Didn't have any bring 60. I stopped out at 58 or 9. Sold a lot of cows, or all the cows we could by the head, that trying to go back to the country. Looked like the calf market, the steers I called unevenly steady. Didn't have some of those extremes we did last week on the 4-weight cattle, but I didn't have really any of those this week either. But then the 6-weight cattle were probably 5 to 7 higher, and the 7-weights were real strong. But then, you know, it was just pretty, I'd say, unevenly steady. The heifer market, probably 1 to 3 lower. Still sold, you know, quite a few 4-weight heifers in the 120s. maybe had one bring 130 or so. 3 weights up to 135 or 40, 5 weights up to 120, 25, something like that. 6 weights, I had a lot of fleshy 6-weight heifers this week. Most of them bring $1.05 to $1.10, which was sure better than what I'd heard been happening around. And I was pretty well satisfied today, Larry. Seemed like the boys worked pretty hard and had quite a few orders, or a lot more for an October sale.
Right.
These October sales are pretty tough.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it wasn't great, but it was sure better than we anticipated.
That's always good to hear. How about next week, Wayne?
Well, I'm sure we're going to keep running, nice running the cattle. The sheep to go runs will probably be somewhere in the 3,000, 3,500 range. Don't know of any right now. I'm sure people will keep bringing their stuff in because until we get some rain,
right.
It's some areas are getting in a pretty tough situation.
Yes, sir, they are. Well, tell everybody how to get a hold of you in Fredericksburg.
We're at 830-997-4394.
Where has the Pioneer Audio Tour taken me today? I'll give you a hint. In my left hand, I'm holding a clump of soil. And its color? Red. I'm at Pioneer's R&D Center in Union City, Tennessee. It's the middle of July and it's 98 degrees. I'm here to talk about the corn revolution, Pioneer's advances in genetics, breeding, technology, and testing. Now, normally when you think of corn, you think Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Nebraska, Kansas, the usual suspects. But Pioneer knows red dirt as well as black, with research centers, test plots, breeders, and agronomists outside what we traditionally think of as the Corn Belt. This way, Pioneer can develop local products for local farms wherever they are. The R&D Center in Union City, Tennessee. Another place that makes Pioneer, Pioneer. You'll hear more from me later. For now, let your local Pioneer sales representative hear from you.
Neighbor, when you hear cattle in the alleyway at Down on the Farm Radio, they're getting shipped out from Kelly Thigpen, Pearsall Livestock. He and his granddad, Cowboy Frank Kelby, operate Pearsall Livestock. Kelly, y'all had a good sale yesterday. Talk to us about it.
Oh, I had a good run of cattle there. Ended up with 1,197 head. Looked like the market on those Packer cows and bulls was about steady with what it's been last week. Looked like kind of the low 50s on the better end of the Packer cows and up to 80 on the better end of the bulls. On the calf and yearling deal, it was sure cheaper. A lot of pressure on this market right now. A lot of cattle moving and lots of things going on, dry weather, and it's just hard to place a lot of these cattle. These bigger order buyers, and
right.
Well, the little guys too are all getting full, and so it's putting some pressure on things. And, I call them $5 to $10 cheaper, just depending on what classes you were looking at. We got everything moved today, but it was sure on a cheaper tone. Probably the very top end of the good cattle, the bigger cattle, were probably closer to steady than anything. Everything else kind of took a pretty good hit.
Well, do you know of anything for next week?
Yes, I do. I know a pretty good jag of calves, be probably close to 100, maybe a few more. Good Charolais cross calves off of one ranch going to be here. And then I expect, we'll keep having pretty decent runs till something changes, get a rain or something happens.
Tell everybody how to contact you, Kelly.
You can call us here at the office at 830-334-3653. My mobile number is 830-334-1047. Or you can call us there or look us up on the website there at PearsallLivestock.com.
I'm on the line with Stephen. He's in the outside sales department at D&D. Stephen, when I look out there, I see lots of deer blinds and feeders. Talk to us about them.
Larry, now is the time to get a blind or a feeder from us here. We carry All Seasons, Lamco, The Judge. We also carry Atascosa and T-Box deer blinds.
Tell everybody how to contact you at D&D.
You can reach us here at 830-379-7340, extension 260.
Neighbor, my cowboy crew has finished eating, so I'm sending them over to Caldwell to help Carl Herman move out cattle and get ready for the big special they've got coming. He'll talk about the sale and the special. Won't you, Carl Herman, Caldwell Livestock?
We had 1,008 head yesterday for 121 consigners and 41 buyers on a lower calf market and a steady cow market. We had about 150 cows and bulls, slaughter cows 30 to 63, slaughter bulls 60 to 81, stocker cows 500 to 1225, and no pairs. On the calves, on the steers, 2 to 3 weights, 140 to 157, 3 to 4 weights, 135 to 175, 4 to 5 weights, 125 to 160, 5 to 6 weights, 110 to 136, 6 to 7 weight steers brought 106 to 120, and the 7 to 8 weights $1 to $1.05. On the heifers, 2 to 3 weights, 120 to 137, 3 to 4 weights, 123 to 142, 4 to 5 weights, 111 to 155, 5 to 6 weights $1 to $1.45, 6 to 7 weight heifers 99 to 137. And the 7 to 8 weights, 95 to 125. Had a lot of good cattle yesterday. It's just, it's October. It's normally cool in the mornings and hot in the afternoons. A lot of these guys buying these calves are having some sick problems with them, and they're just not as aggressive right now to buy cattle. In a couple of weeks, when the weather lightens out a little bit, things will look a little better.
You've got a special coming up, correct?
I do. I've got a special coming up November the 14th. That's on a Saturday. It starts at 1 o'clock. We're going to have 700 excellent replacement females, a few bulls. We'll have pairs, breds, and opens. If anybody needs to call to consign, just let me know, and I'll send you some tags. So my number is 979-820-5349. Call the barn, 567-4119. Or if you get into the surrounding area, call Max Ebner, 540-8676.
We appreciate it, Carl. We'll speak with you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Neighbor, I hope you enjoy the features from Texas Farm Bureau Radio as much as we enjoy bringing them to you. And I hope you enjoy hunting and fishing in the state of Texas, but I hope you're paying attention to the laws and you're doing it within the limit of the law, particularly garnering your hunting or fishing license prior to participating in those activities. Jessica Dommel from the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network talks to us about a way to buy those that some of us could have never dreamed of when we were young hunters. Jessica, how do you do that?
Hunters and anglers across Texas are skipping the line and buying their New Year hunting and fishing licenses online. Carter Smith, Executive Director of the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, recently discussed the feature with the Texas and Southwestern Cattle Raisers Association.
We've seen around a 70 to 75% increase from last year in the internet purchase of our hunting and fishing license sales. And I think that reflects obviously a couple of things. One, the increased use of digital media and smartphones to transact business. And we've adapted a lot of our agency-related offerings to making them smartphone friendly. But also with legislation that was passed last session, it allowed for people to be able to show essentially digital proof of a license in the field to our game wardens, if they didn't need a tag to tag a deer or turkey. So we have a lot of hunters that are taking advantage of that.
That was TPWD Executive Director Carter Smith. You can buy your new hunting and fishing license on the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department website, tpwd.texas.gov. Click on the link in the top center of the page that says Buy a License. Again, that website, tpwd.texas.gov.
Where has the Pioneer Audio Tour taken me today? The road. I've been driving for a short while, but this is the beginning of a long summer. Last year, to learn about Pioneer's R&D pipeline, I went to 16 different places across the country. This year, I'm going to 9 more. Let me just take a turn here. Right now, I'm somewhere in the Missouri boot heel, but I'm going all over the place. By the end, I'll have gone to research facilities, farmers' fields, seed treatment labs, and more, each with a specific purpose in Pioneer's R&D pipeline. But here's the thing. Individually, each place is interesting, but together, they are part of Pioneer's massive local and national footprint. And that's the thing that makes Pioneer Pioneer. You'll hear more from me later. For now, let your local Pioneer sales representative hear from you.
Toyota Bassmaster Texas Fest will return to Lake Fork for the second year in a row, November 5th through the 8th. The event was originally scheduled for June, but was postponed. Bassmaster Texas Fest is an Elite Series tournament. 85 of the top bass anglers in the world will compete for a total prize purse of $1 million. Proceeds from the tournament benefit the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department's youth fishing and urban outreach programs. For the Texas Farm Bureau Radio Network, I'm Jessica Dommel.
Neighbor, let's refresh those commodity prices. December corn, $4.17 1/4, up 3.5. January soybeans, $10.78 1/4, up 6.5. December Kansas City hard red winter wheat down 2 3/4 at $5.67 even money. December number 2 cotton up 64 at $71.68. December live cattle down 82.50 at $103.75. June feeder cattle down 90, $126.17. December lean hogs down 202 at $67.17. December U.S. dollar index up 271 points at 92.87. December West Texas Intermediate crude up 84 at 40.87. Neighbor, let's take a look at grains and cotton, courtesy of John Tuggle. Tuggle & Company, Corpus, 800-288-4453 or 1-800-2-TUGGLE. Number 2 or better Milo through Corpus Christi in October, D's plus a $2 bill, $10.96. We'll call Progresso $8.50. Corn through Corpus in October, D's plus 40, $4.53 3/4. We'll call Houston D's plus 30, $4.43 3/4, and we'll call Progresso $8.60. Hard red winter wheat through Corpus in October, D's plus 75, $6.44 3/4. We'll call Houston D's plus a $1 bill, $6.69 3/4. We'll call Houston beans October, November delivery, November contract less 15, $10.57, and we'll call Placido November less 60, $10.12. Let's take a look at Texas cotton, neighbor. Looks to me like we moved 1,173 bale of East Texas, 2,394 bale of West. That brings the total to 3,567 and an average price of $66.42. That's it for the noon hour edition of our program. I'm Larry